Hello and welcome to the Football Breakdown. This is the Fantasy EFL Gameweek 36 preview show. I'm Matthew South.
And I'm Ian Cooper.
Yes, hello and welcome everybody. Four weeks to go. Can you believe it, Ian? It's absolutely flown by, hasn't it?
It really has. We're in such an exciting period of the season now. I'm really excited for games I didn't even think I could get excited about. Like there's some potential games where both teams are running for playoffs, and if you'd said this at the start of the season, it wouldn't have been a game I wanted to watch, but right now it's all I can look at.
Yeah, even last night I had an eye on that Crew Cheltenham game with Crew's playoff implications, and yeah, I was a bit surprised that they've absolutely fumbled it basically going into the playoffs and lost 3-2, and their chances are fading away. So yeah, that's one game we're a bit late on this week, but yeah, I didn't have any players planned for that one, and I'm kind of glad I completely
Yeah.
avoided it in the end as well, as I feel like I would have been drawn into picking like a Crew defender or something. But yeah, before we get into this week, shall we have a quick rundown how our weeks last week went?
I don't think we really need to, and I think that says everything. I'll kick us off. I managed to get 69 points. Yeah, that's right, 69 points from a double game week. I don't really know how to explain this one. Just to kick off with the teams, for instance. So I picked Sheffield United, and they decided to lose 1-0 in both their games against Oxford and Millwall, and really open up the promotion race in the Championship. I just didn't see that coming. I thought there were two tight games they would really favour. And the other game was Bolton Wanderers, who won 1-0 against Bristol Rovers. Think perfect. Home game against Rotherham, and no, lose 1-0 there, where Rotherham have really turned their form around. Didn't see that one coming either. Trying to think of who actually did well for me here. Let's start with Quayne Poku. He got a goal in the second game, had him captain, so got me 20 points there. I got 14 points for Nat Phillips. I predicted the 0-0 against Burnley, and he got 12 clearances, so he got me 11 points from that game, 14 points overall. And I'm going to be honest, that's all I'm going to talk about. My 0.1 got 5 points. Josh Brownhill got 5 points. Tyrese Campbell got 5 points. Borja Signs got 5 points. It's just awful.
Yeah, it wasn't too much better for myself. 75 points for me. Yep, same scenario with Bolton. They had 36 shots against Rotherham and didn't
Yeah.
score. Yeah, and my other pick was Chesterfield, who just went terribly wrong. They missed two big chances at 0-0 against Tranmere, and then they just gave up and lost 4-0. And then they salvaged a 1-0 draw against Gillingham. A result that is absolutely nothing for them anyway, and that's their playoff chances kind of fading that week. So completely opposite to what happened. What I thought would happen. Yeah, I also had Poku for the 10 captain as well into the 20. Helic was the defensive pick. I was umming and ahhing between going Cumming and Dickey or O'Leary and Helic. I went O'Leary and Helic in the end, and really I should just gone double Oxford. But they did keep the clean sheet that I thought they had a sneaky chance of keeping against Sheffield United, and then crumbled against QPR, but it didn't matter. Helic still got 16 points. O'Leary just with 6. So I think had I gone for my original Cumming Dickey thing, it would have been an extra 3 points. But yeah, not the end of the world. I swapped out Kelman because he was benched, and then I put in Sargent. He scored once. Kelman then started the second game and scored twice, so that was a bit frustrating. Hamza Chowdhury did absolutely nothing in 2 games. He got me 3 points. And then my final 2 players I'm going to put down as bad luck. Daniel Happ got 10 points in the first game, then he's injured for the rest of the season and didn't play the second game. Will Forrester lasted 17 minutes as my sub point 1 pick before getting injured, and Bolton went on to keep that clean sheet, so he got me 1 point. So I'm putting those two as just bad luck, and
Yeah.
then everything else is just bad choice. So
Yeah.
taking
You can hold
some salvage, yeah.
yeah, you can hold your head higher than me, where mine were all choice and they were basically all bad choices.
Yeah, yeah. So this week it's got to be better, right? It's a full slate. We're gonna tackle the whole thing because there's only one double game week, and it's Doncaster v Salford in League Two happening on Tuesday. So they're the only 2 teams playing twice. So everyone else is playing once, bar Birmingham, Peterborough, Blackpool, and Mansfield, as Birmingham and Peterborough face each other in the EFL Trophy final on Sunday. So yeah, everyone else is up for just a single game. So I think we're just going to tackle the whole thing from top to bottom. So Ian, do you want to take us away with our goalkeeper in the championship?
Yeah, sure. And so for the goalkeeper, with this promotion race really heating up, we're starting to see the goals for the top teams starting to dry up, which shows a shift in mentality where they're set up more defensively sound. So I'm looking for a team who is ideally playing at home against a team that's realistically not fighting for something that's this stage of the season. And I'm going to go for Carl Darlow and put for the lead at home to Preston. And I think it's going to prove the ideal choice. Darlow has only conceded 1 goal in 2 games. Look, he's only played 2 games since slotting in for Meslier and has only been involved in 4 saves, which shows the defence in front of him being quite organised and not giving up too much space and scoring opportunities. Preston are 17th in goals per match and in the championship, and are 16th for expected goals per 90. Whilst on the flip side, Leeds have a very strong home record, only conceding 11 goals in 20 matches. So I'm looking for the clean sheet here, which I think is really on.
Yeah, I think that's sensible, makes sense. Yeah, Leeds really need to keep winning, which they didn't do the other week, but need to keep winning after that win in midweek. Similar theme for my defender pick. I'm picking a team playing at home against someone who has little to play for. But instead of going for the title race. I'm going for a team that are in the playoff. Well, they're confirmed in the playoffs. They're literally going to finish fourth. It's Sunderland. I'm going to take Chris Metham in defence. I was kind of torn between like Try Hume and Chris Metham here, and I really Hume's got 2 goals in 3 games, which kind of leans you towards him, but he doesn't even take that many shots. That's just kind of his first 2 goals all season. So I'm just going to go for Metham with his clearance numbers and his tackles. He's got 6.3 clearances per 90 and 1.3 tackles. We can hopefully up that a little bit this week. It's 3 straight clean sheets for Sunderland. They've had a few injuries further up the pitch to deal with. They just look so much more solid at the back. They conceded just 15 goals in their 20 home games. Yeah, they're a pretty solid outfit right now. And they're hosting Swansea, who have scored just 15 goals in their 20 away games. And yeah, scoring at home right now, but they don't really have much to play for. A trip to the northeast doesn't really seem like something they're going to be that up for, and I just don't really see them going up there and causing Sunderland too many issues right now. So yeah, Meckham's the defender that kind of stands out for me there.
Sure, and let's go to the midfield pick where I feel like I've got something a bit more interesting and exciting. I'm going to go for George Honeyman. He's finally back in the starting 11, playing on the right-hand side after struggling for minutes, let's be honest, in the mid part of the season. He's been very influential for the side, claiming bonus points across multiple venues, such as key passes and interceptions. Um, it's not a game. This is what I was on about earlier when I said it's not really a game I expected to be excited about, but it's Millwall playing Middlesbrough. And it's just 2 sides who I didn't think would have much of a fighting chance on sneaking into the playoffs. Middlesbrough do have a wobble at times in defence, so to find a player who has 1 assist and 12 key passes in his last 3 starts, Honeyman could really be a thorn in Middlesbrough's side. And if you think Middlesbrough will have the greater play over the ball, Honeyman has managed 3 interceptions against Sheffield United in the last game, so this pick isn't solely reliant on Honeyman's creativity here.
Yeah, I'm going to double up on this Middlesbrough game with my attacking pick. Middlesbrough away from home give away quite a lot of shots. Their last away game against Blackburn was the first time they actually looked really solid, but Blackburn were awful. So if I'm going to discount that one, 0-0 draw against Luton, 19 shots given away. Swansea had 13 shots, the same Swansea who don't score goals away from home. Stoke 12, Bristol City 21, Sheffield United 18, Preston 10, Portsmouth 13. That's their last run of away games for Middlesbrough, and the shots that the home side have had. So Millwall perfectly capable of having shots here. And who's on form for them right now? Well, it's Mihailo Ivanovic, 3 goals from 8 shots in his last 3 home games for them. Missed a gilt-edged chance last week as well, where he really should have made it 2-0 against Sheffield United. But yeah, he's their best threat. He's their best shot taker in a side who have good shots at home against a side who can see quite a few shots away from home. So yeah, Ivanovic to add to that Honeyman pick for Millwall.
I know who would have thought at this stage of the season we are going for 2 Millwall players, but I just think this game's so exciting. It was more that was the draw of picking the player. Really, I could have found another midfielder in the Championship, but it's the game I'm going to be watching, so I wanted to have a player involved in this game.
Yeah, and who would have thought we were picking forward thinking Millwall players at this stage of the season too? Never mind like no Savile, no Denor, no defenders. Nope, we're going for the attack here. So no, pretty interesting if I do say so myself. Into League One then, and my League One goalkeeper pick is Will Norris for Wycombe Wanderers. 6 clean sheets in 8 at home for them. They're up against a Stevenage side who have just 12 goals in 20 games away from home this season, and they blanked in their last 2 away games. I think Wycombe should be winning this to nil. I mean, their issue recently hasn't really been conceding. It's been, can they actually score a goal despite all the pressure they have? Stevenage shouldn't really cause them much threat here, and this is another game where you've got a side looking to get automatic promotion against a side who have nothing left to play for. So Will Norris in goal for me in League One.
And this is becoming a bit of a theme because I've gone for Sonny Bradley for Wycombe. He's just the ideal pick this week. Bradley has averaged 9.8 points over his last 5 games and has 3 clean sheets in that time. And paired up with Stevenage, who do play quite a direct sort of system, it's an ideal setting for Bradley to clock at some great clearance numbers from being so dominant in the air. Like matches, some of his totals has reached 16 clearances against Rotherham and 17 against Huddersfield. So I think we could see these numbers here this week as well.
Yeah, really, really solid pick. I have a few stats on him to maybe bring up later. Into midfield now, and my midfield pick is Kamari Doyle for Crawley Town. His average since joining Crawley has been 6.9 points in his 12 starts and 1 substitute appearance for Crawley Town. 6 goals, 4 assists, 2.62 shots per 90. Orient have conceded 4 goals in their last 2 games, and they actually concede quite a high number of shots. So I'm going to back Crawley and Kamari Doyle to cause them some issues. Yeah, they conceded 2 goals in midweek on the road to Mansfield. I don't see why Crawley can't cause them the same problem, and their attacking threat right now is Kamari Doyle, someone who I've been wanting to talk about for a while. He's just really, really exciting in this Crawley team. With Lindsay back, I can see him just getting better until the season's end. And you've got again another game where you got a club fighting relegation and a club looking at the playoffs. I don't think this is actually going to be that cagey. I think this is going to be pretty open, just like Orient's away games have been recently, just like Crawley's games full stop have been recently.
We've never had this before on the pod, but we've gone for the same game again. We had a full selection here. Every team's playing a single game in this league, and yet we focus on 2 games here. Because I'm going to have to apologise, Matt, but I'm going for Charlie Kelman again. I think I'm allowed to, as like all my picks so far have been under 0.1%, and Kelman certainly isn't. He's hot on form, having scored 6 goals in his last 6 games. And the key thing here is he scored more than 1 goal in a game twice in that time. And with Crawley having the second worst defence in the EFL, you would hope Kelman can show his quality in this game. I'm not really sure if this selection needs to be explained much more for Crawley's sake, but I will let them off, as I have a feeling we might be bringing it up this point next week as well, with it being Birmingham's first game for the next game week. So I might leave it there for now.
Yeah, it kind of leans into the fact they think there's going to be goals in this game. So yeah, Doyle and Kelman perfectly acceptable to chuck both of them in your team if you're interested in that. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. Kelman's a striker we both like a lot. And then, do you want to take us away in League Two?
Yeah, so for the goalkeeper pick, I hope this isn't a theme for League 2 as well, but we know the rules with keepers for double game week. It just doesn't make sense to not side with one. And I'm going to go for the Chelsea youngster, Teddy Sharman-Lowe, on loan at Doncaster. He has 11 clean sheets this season. The first game is against AFC Wimbledon, which is, again, a really exciting game. 2 teams just outside the automatic promotion spots. And in the reverse fixture, Doncaster lost 1-0, but both teams' XG was low at 0.69 for Wimbledon against 0.56 for Doncaster. And I see this being the same case where both teams have got so much pressure riding on this match, I don't think it's going to be that open. The second game is away to Salford. I think this is favourable as Doncaster have the best away record in League 2. The reverse fixture ended in a 1-1 draw, where Salford only created one big chance and over the season sits 17th in expected goals for in the league.
Yeah, no, I do like it a lot. It definitely fits with our theme of the picking the goalkeeper on the double game week makes sense. He's definitely the choice of the two. In defence, I'm actually going to stay away from the double game week here as listen, if I'm being honest, I think I'd take the keeper as well, so I probably wouldn't double up keeper and defender. Salford's two games are tough. Notts County away, Doncaster at home, and Doncaster, I think there's no point doubling up keeper and defender. So I'm going to look at Max Clark for Gillingham. It's now Gareth Ainsworth for Gillingham, which makes it even more interesting. But even without that, they have 3 clean sheets in 4 at home. If you go back a little further, it's 4 in 6 at home. They are up against an MK Dons side who have blanked in 4 of their last 6 away games. So straight away, you've got a side who are pretty solid at the back, who look a little bit better as a footballing side again, just like they did at the start of the season when they were kind of winning games to nil and ticking along before they just collapsed and ended up where we are now, against an MK Dons side who are the worst side in the league right now. That's just without a doubt. But they've got the points in the bag to not be dragged into that relegation fight. So it kind of feels like a little bit of a nothing game, and it's a game that I just think Gillingham are just going to win to nil. So I want to get a defender in there. Max Clark's the one that stands out for me. 3.45 clearances, but 2.88 tackles as well. So you've got the bonus point coming from 2 avenues here. 0.58 shots when he goes forward, but 1.2 chances created and 1.08 successful crosses. So there is an option here for him to hopefully provide something in the attacking third should Gillingham kind of be on top in this game, which I expect they will be.
Lovely. And I'll go into the midfielder pick. And I'm going to start off by saying, first of all, everyone should go for Luke Molyneux this week. It's a similar situation to Quain Poku last week, where he's one of the best scoring midfielders in the respected league. But for the sake of not banging on about Doncaster and just to be a little bit more creative, I'm actually going to contradict myself and bang on about a Grimsby midfielder again. But this time I'm going to discuss Kieran Green, yet another pod favourite profile, I'd say, of an all-action midfielder who has found some scoring form. He scored 3 in his last 3 games and has 6 goals all season, especially when you combine that with his 10 assists too. Green averages just over 2 games per goal action. And if you add this with a consistent bonus points for key passes and the odd interception, I think it could be a really fruitful pick if someone's looking for another midfielder in League 2. Especially when you consider he averages 5.4 points and is currently 0% selected. It's just a really uncommon to find a player with a good average rating that's not highly picked. So I just found it really interesting there.
Yeah, Grimsby are an interesting one. They've got quite a few midfielders in and around that range. Obviously, so we've got McEachran before, Green this week, and I think Evan Corey as well is another one who's really good numbers. Yeah, I was wondering if that was the angle you'd go for this week. So I'm kind of glad you did pick at least one of them there. Yeah, very nice stuff and good point on Molyneux. Just a bit more on Molyneux quickly. I kind of did the math to see if there was another Doncaster midfielder you could argue with. He and Jordan Gibson have the same amount of shots in their last 10 games, but Molyneux's 2 goals and 6 assists outweighs Gibson's, I think, 2 goals and 2 assists. So listen, there's just no other way to do it. Like I thought maybe, even Owen Bailey might be a shout, but it's really just Molyneux. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing else to add to that. Yeah, but I did have a look to see if there was an alternative, but there isn't. So up front for me, I'm going to again. I'd say the double is kind of done. I'm not going to pick a Salford forward, and like we said, Molyneux and Teddy Sharman Lowe are the 2 Doncaster doubles we think you should go for. So with that in mind, I'm going Laurent Talai for Port Vale.
Love him.
Straight off the back of that double against Walsall, absolutely terrifically taken goals. Yeah, he scored in the game before that, so he's looking to score in 3 games running. 11 goals, 8 assists this season. He's just a terrific footballer, and he's really, really taken to this level, especially like this year. Port Vale, he's one of the main reasons Port Vale are firing up the table right now. He takes 2.87 shots per 90, and he creates 1.27 chances per 90. And when you have players like Stockley and Curtis and Garrity in your team, that's a pretty good number to be creating for someone to put those goals away. Hence, he has the 8 assists. And their games against Bromley, and Bromley have conceded an average of 14.4 shots away from home in their last 10 away games. They've also conceded 16 goals in that time. So even though they have been really pretty good recently, they're still giving away chances. So I'm not really fussed what happens at the other end of the pitch for this one. I just fuss that Talai's going to get chances, and I'm backing him to put one of them away.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love Talaj. I actually think he's been brilliant this season. We don't normally go down this avenue, but I'm just going to be so interested. And even if they do get promoted, if he's going to still be at Port Vale next year, like he had the youth career, a really good youth career at Brighton, and I can see one of the top sides in League One taking a punt on him. So I'd be interested how many goals he can get to the end of the season to really boost his profile. But out of those Port Vale forwards, I think he's the one to go for as well.
Yeah, no, fully agreed there. So now we're going to talk about our 0.1% picks. As always, myself and Iain will pick a player who's been picked by 0.1% of players or less going into this game week at the time of recording. I'll start us off this week, seeing as my players already been mentioned. I'm taking Sonny Bradley for all the reasons you said. And yeah, I did have a few more points to add to that. Yeah, well, but he follows the Norris logic of 6 clean sheets in 8 at home, and the Stevenage side of things where they're just low scorers away from home, not scored in the last 2 away games. Sonny Bradley averaging 12.67 clearances a game. And if you look at his average this season whilst playing for Wycombe, his 11 starts, his average point return is 8.7. So yeah, and it's only kind of gotten better since those first few weeks. So yeah, I just feel like just feels like a no-brainer this week for Bradley being the pick for me.
Yeah, and for me, it's also a player that's been mentioned on the pods. I was trying to, when I was building my team, I was trying to fit Trey Hume in there because I was just so interested. I was so impressed with actually his tackle numbers, and then I saw that Chris Mepham was eligible for the 0.1 being 0% selected at the time of recording. So yeah, I have picked him all for the same reasons. I think Sunderland looked really good in defence. They kept a clean sheet in their last 3 games. They do have the odd slip up, but I think Swansea at home's an ideal game for them to get here. So that's why I'm going for Chris Mepham.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I was interested because when I was talking about Mepham, you were kind of laughing, and I was like, "Is this because it's a bad pick?" No, it's just because you've picked him as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's good to know that I can take that on my mind that it wasn't a bad pick, or at least coming from us two anyway. Right, yeah. So now I'm going to run you down my team going into this week. So in goal, Teddy Sharman Lowe. In defence, Sonny Bradley, who I'm partnering up with Max Clark. I'm actually going 3 midfielders for the first time in a while because I'm going Luke Molyneux and I'm going Kelly Namai for Salford. He's my Salford pick for the week. He's been on pretty good form recently. 9 points, 6 points, 10 points his last 3 games. Good attacking option. He's the one Salford player that really stands out. 8.1 point average in 7 starts since returning from injuries, and 4 goals and 8 interceptions in that time. I think he's the Salford midfielder of choice anyway. I know a lot of people might go Ashley instead, but Namai is the one that stands out to me. And my final midfielder is Josh Murphy. Portsmouth at home to Derby. I think that Murphy just really stands out. At home, his average is actually higher than it is away from home. 6.5 points with 5 goals and 6 assists this season. Just shy of an interception as a game as well. And in his last home game, he got 15 points in a 1-0 win over Blackburn, thanks to scoring the only goal and picking up 3 interceptions. So yeah, really like the look of Josh Murphy this week. And up front, Lauren Talaj, yeah, for reasons I kind of spoke about earlier.
Yeah, perfect. So I've gone for the same keeper in Teddy Sharman Lowe. I've got Sonny Bradley and Chris Mepham, and I've also gone Maxime Esteve. It's just I've just as an ideal third defender. I'm glad we didn't do this recording yesterday because I probably would have gone Demetriou.
He
So
was also in my thought
yeah,
process, yeah. So when I saw Cheltenham scored three, I was like, I'm glad we delayed the recording a day.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've gone for a midfield two of Luke Molyneux and George Honeyman, and right now I'm sort of debating striker. I've got Charlie Kelman here right now, but I am interested in Cole Stockton for Salford. The only thing that's really putting me off is he doesn't, especially of late, when he's playing against the teams higher up the table, he hasn't been on the score sheet, but he's certainly more than capable. So he is in my mind. I might change my mind. I've got a few more hours to debate that one, but right now I'm going for Charlie Kelman.
Yeah, yeah, very good. No, I do like that team. I also do like that Ashdev shout as well. He was definitely in the conversation for my championship defender pick. His clearance numbers in the last two games are really good, and Norwich should have enough threat to help that number upwards. I thought Mepham was just more interesting to talk about as had I known that you were going to talk about him anyway, maybe I would have just said Ashdev. So always the fun part of doing the pod without knowing any of each other's picks, I think. So yeah, you feel like you get a bit more authentic listening for you lot from us. So yeah, moving into the final part of the show, which is our teams to win this week. So myself and Iain are gonna pick two teams to win for the purposes of fantasy, but also for our head-to-head that we have going on that Iain is absolutely thrashing me in, where we will place a £5 bet on our two teams to win their first game of the game week. I think I'm actually kind of even money at the moment, but you are well ahead, but we both lost last week. So so do you want to take us away with your teams this week?
Yep, sure. So for the first team I've got is no surprise, it's Doncaster. With the double game week, as mentioned earlier, I like them defensively, but I also like having players like Luke Molyneux in there as well. Real game changers. So obviously, first game against Wimbledon at home, and the second game Salford away. And I've partnered them up with Wickham, as mentioned with Sonny Bradley. I just think they're going to be very dominant. Maybe not score wise. They might edge this. Like their last few games have been very tight, only really been decided by one goal, but I certainly think they're more than capable of scoring that goal. So I've gone for Doncaster Rovers and Wickham Wanderers, and my £5 returns me £14.96.
Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, I've also gone Doncaster. Yeah, I think most people are going to go Doncaster this week. Just a quick look, they're up to 6.8% right now in terms of teams. So yeah, no kind of real surprise there. But the other team I'm going for the other side of that League One promotion battle. I'm taking Wrexham. I like the fact they're away from home. I'm targeting those points. They're away to Wigan, who, just kind of really shy for goals right now. Wrexham 1-0 against Burton last week. Their only real blip recently has been that 2-2 draw of Cambridge away from home, but like that still returned them 5 points in fantasy. It's the game before against Exeter where they won 2-0 is the kind of performance I'm expecting here. I think Cambridge, fighting for their lives, you can kind of see why they maybe grabbed 2 goals and shocked Wrexham, but an Exeter side that didn't have too much to play for, a Wigan side that don't have too much to play for, shouldn't really get dragged into that relegation fight given Bristol Rovers' form and their kind of gap there. And even if they do try and fight for this one, I just don't think they're going to be able to beat Wrexham. So yeah, Wrexham with the away game for me, and my £5 stake returns £18.86 on those two to win.
Lovely stuff. Just a quick question: were you tempted with the double of Doncaster and Salford?
No, I understand the logic. I think that the Notts County game tonight, I can only really see Notts County winning that, and then if that's the case, you kind of end up with 0 points anyway, and then all I'm doing is covering myself for the Doncaster non-win. Like, I don't think Salford are going to win both games. So, in my head, I'm not really doing myself any favours by picking them. I don't know what your thoughts on that.
Yeah, because the only way you benefit from that, especially if Salford don't get the win in the first game, is really asking for a 0-0 in the second game to get 5 points from each team, rather than one of the teams winning and scoring 2 goals. You're only going to get 9 points, maybe 11 if Salford win, but you're you're
Well,
really banking on the nil-nil.
With Doncaster being away in the second game, yeah, if they win 2-0, that's where your 11 comes from. So really, in the second game, you want Doncaster to win anyway. So then it's
Yeah,
like, well, why would you be going for Salford in
yeah,
the first place? So yeah, that's kind of my logic for it. But I get why people do it, but this I just don't think they have the fixtures for it this week. If they were playing, say, like Carlisle or MK Dons,
oh,
Morecambe, one of
absolutely.
those kind of sides, I'd be like, yeah, makes a lot of sense. But I don't think it does, seeing as it's Notts County. Yeah. No, very good, very good. Yeah, well, that brings us to the end of the show for this week. But as always, do follow us on the socials to keep up to date with any changes we make in our teams before the weekend. There is football tonight, so a couple of our picks, or a couple of your picks especially, in action tonight, and my Salford picks actually. Yeah, Notts County Salford is taking place tonight, which is Friday, as is Burnley Norwich, which should be a pretty interesting game. I think they're both actually going to be pretty interesting games. I mean, I'm not going to be like I'm going to watch the not Salford one over it, but I definitely have an eye on it
Yeah.
for sure, given the playoff implications. But yeah, do follow us on the socials. We're on X at FEBD Pod, and we are on Bluesky at Football Breakdown. Thank you all for listening. Do enjoy your weekend. Thank you, Ian,
Thank you, Matthew.
and take it easy.